So he just took his thumb and put it in his bag and then put it in my mouth. And I was like, bro.
Some random guy just put his thumb in your mouth.
How's it going? I'm Justin Khan from Justin.tv.
Spoiler alert, so we decided to do this dating makeover idea. But we made it into a full-on life coaching day. So we're applying all of the life lessons that we've learned on the channel, the things I've been talking about, and we're gonna take them and we're gonna put them into someone's life, whether he wants it or not. And then we're gonna set them up on a blind date. My producer, Jen, found us Phillip, who quit his job to become a full-time content creator traveling around the world. I don't know if his Asian parents approve, but I approve. So here's how it's gonna work. We're dividing up the series into 4 parts for a full-on life makeover for Phillip. Number 1, I sit down with him, learn about his life, and give him some coaching. Number 2, Phillip's style is questionable at best, and so I take him shopping, get him some new threads, get him laced up. Number 3, bring in my friend Anthony, who's a professional dating coach, to level up Phillip's game. We're taking him from here to here. And then the grand finale, part 4, we set up Phillip on a blind date, and we'll be in his ear at the Santa Monica Pier while he tries to apply these life lessons in action. All right, on to part 1. Bam! What's up, guys? It's Justin, and we're back with another video. This time we're doing a more live concept, which I'm super excited about. Jen, our producer of the channel, found us Phillip here. And
hey guys, I'm leaving my mom to fly to my 50th country. This is a story of after sleeping on the streets, hitchhiking the world.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. You just flew in from El Salvador. What are you doing there?
I guess I left my job in 2020.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. What were you doing in 2020?
I left everything to move into my car and make videos.
Yeah.
On TikTok.
See, he doesn't need life advice. He's already figured it out. But like all the people watching this are like, they're probably working at a job they hate, possibly bank, perhaps consulting firm. What gave you the confidence to be like, okay, I'm gonna go for it?
So after I graduated in 2018, I ended up traveling the world for 14 months. And I was talking to my brother, and he's like, you don't do anything. Like, you're literally not doing anything significant in life other than making money. And I was like, fine, I'll move into my car next month. I made that video, and I was just telling stories because people want to hear about it. And then I just started telling stories about my life. Okay, and I was like, yeah, maybe I can make a career out of this. Even though I didn't realize how far, I didn't make money for an entire year after that.
Reminds me of myself. On my comments, they're always like, this guy's whole personality is ISIL Twitch.
Yeah.
So now you've been traveling the world and just making videos, and that's like, you're doing it full time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
That's great, you're living the dream. Or do you like it?
I think last year was the hardest year of my life I've had in a while. I got into this massive car accident in Boston that my friend was driving. So I ended up sleeping in my car in Connecticut, and this homeless guy tried to clean my windows. His name's Mike. And I invited him into my car. I'm like, hey, I live in my car. Do you want to just hang out with me? So eating food. I'm like, oh, I make videos too. Would you mind if I recorded this? And the internet fell in love with this guy. Yeah, so that's what I was basically doing. And then I think I started falling in love with just the process of trying to help people out.
So what was hard about last year?
I think it started at Christmas of 2020. Basically saw someone overdose on the streets, and then I tried to resuscitate him.
Oh, shit.
And he ended up passing away in my arms. So that was
wow.
A freaky experience. My next big thing, and this is actually something that I would love advice on, is we booked this flight to Poland, and the idea was me and my friend, we just wanted to try to volunteer at a refugee camp. I'm in contact with someone who works at the Polish Red Cross. Yeah. And so the idea is we just go in, and I think because my family, we're a background of Vietnamese war refugees, and I was I want to do something that matters more. I think that's what we always talk about, doing something that matters, at least for us. Yeah. But I don't know, the idea of coming in and not wanting to be a white savior mentality and not wanting to come.
Well, you're not white, so you're probably good there. Dude, that's some woke shit right there. Honestly, what you're telling me is very inspiring. You're out there trying to help other people. That's incredible. I think this whole concept of feeling guilty about something before anything happens is complete nonsense. What's going on today? Everyone's always worried about something that could happen in the future,
Oh, that's exactly where I am.
The key is just to do what you want to do and not give a shit what other people think. And then the second thing is just, I don't read comments anymore. I'm sure I'm getting flamed nonstop. What about all the things when I'm shilling NFTs now? People hate NFTs. I'm sure people are like, this guy and his NFTs.
The videos that we watched, I was like, dang, his comments are surprisingly really positive.
People love me.
That's why I was thinking wow, this is such a cool opportunity to meet someone like you, especially.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad I met you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm very inspired by people who are doing what they want to do and trying new things, putting themselves outside their comfort zones. You're doing that. That's great. What I'm here to tell you is there's always something to worry about, you know, especially with related to like your interactions with other people. There's always something. You don't control what other people think, how they react, what happens. Like you could be canceled at any moment for something. Yes.
I think that's one thing that's interesting is like ever since I joined social media, like I've been less happy. I feel like when people enter social media, they're always so worried about like how they're perceived. People are looking at what I'm doing actively quite a bit now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really want to put forth my best version. And I talk about me being vulnerable.
Maybe talk about that. You know, like people appreciate that. Vulnerability is one of those things where you think it is going to be way worse than it is, right? You think if I'm vulnerable, I'm going to be perceived in a certain way. People will think I'm weak. I'll be destroyed online or whatever.
Yeah.
And usually the exact opposite is true. When you're vulnerable to people, they're like, oh, wow, that's really strong that you could admit that. You know, I said like I had imposter syndrome, right? And then I got all the replies that I got from my imposter syndrome video. It's like one person was the mayor of a major American city, who like was in my DMs like, I have imposter syndrome too. This other guy has like a $30 billion company. And he was like, I also have imposter syndrome.
That does make you feel a lot better.
And I decided to just focus on like, I'm just gonna make whatever I wanna make or whatever Jen and I wanna make. And then we put it out there and I don't think about it. Or even just zooming out and being like, the most important thing is the trend line is a certain way. So like every video is an experiment. And if I learn something, then I got something out of it. It's not, every TikTok is not gonna be 1 million views. If it is, that means you're not experimenting and you're not like learning something.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
Bam.
Thank you for that. Damn.
Game over. Drop the mic. So wait, what are your other problems?
I'm like getting a little older nowadays and I'm like, I don't know.
How old are you, like 25?
I am 25, yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
great. You got a long ways to go.
I don't have any like consistency in any part of my life right now or ever.
Yeah, so that's super hard when you're traveling. What might help you with, you know, what I was talking about earlier with like charging your battery, you know, for others, so you can be there for other people, is to have a set of things, you know, routine that you can take with you wherever you go that helps you, you know, be grounded and centered and like have every day be a great day. In terms of habit formation, it's all about like setting at something that's achievable, right? Like you're like, I'm going to work out in the gym 90 minutes every day. Like you're probably not going to do it. Building a habit is about repetition and being able to like just do something. You know, I set the bar for myself really low. I'm like, I'm going to work out 5 minutes. And then there's no excuse. Like even if it's 11:55 p.m., like I can do 5 minutes of.
I feel like if I met someone like that was like interested in doing the same work as me, then it would actually work out.
Yeah.
But, so actually that would be like ideal.
I mean, aren't there other like social media influencers who travel the world doing good who are women? Probably. One of my friends who's like
Alexi?
Yeah. You got to find someone like that.
All right.
You know?
I'm not gonna lie, it's not super easy.
I don't know if I'm being very helpful right now. Unfortunately, most of the audience of my channel is 22 to 28-year-old Asian or Indian men.
If you guys have any sisters, let me know. I was mentioning like one of my favorite YouTubers is Ali Abdaal. And,
he's great.
And he brings on this expert in one of his podcasts, the author of the book.
Yeah.
And he's like, what type of person generally asks you for advice? And it's like, oh, the person that like feels like they're pretty content and they're having a very fulfilled life and their life is perfect and they're happy. But the one thing is it happens to be dating, that they're like haven't been able to find someone they've been struggling with. And like reading that and hearing about like Maximizer, someone that like tries to make the best decision at all times.
Yeah. Are you a maximizer?
Yeah.
Not a satisficer. I'm a satisficer. So like,
did you start as a satisficer or did you shift towards it?
No, I think I was always a satisficer. I think it's hard to shift your core personality actually, except for maybe constrain yourself with an algorithm like But my real advice is actually, I mean, I think you're maybe like getting a little bit twisted over like how much time you have. Like, I think you're seeing yourself as a lot like, you know, kind of running out of time versus how much time you actually have, which is probably, you know, decades more. I have like friends who are in their 40s who are still doing what you're doing, traveling around the world, hooking up with random people.
I just thought to myself, I was like, I just don't think this is sustainable into my late 30s.
I can tell you right now, from a physical standpoint, it is sustainable.
I'm like, okay, this sounds ridiculous. I have this idea that I'm not going to live that long.
Oh, why do you feel that way?
Every male in my family lineage in the last like 4 generations has died in their 50s. In
their 50s?
Yeah, my dad, my grandpa, and my great-grandpa. Generations ago, apparently one of my family in Vietnam, they're in the army, in the military. And like one guy pissed off some like lady and she put a curse saying that there would be one male in every generation that dies in their 50s. And then like the line has just been like lasting. And so me and my brother were like, wow, it's scary. I know that sounds ridiculous. And
no, it doesn't sound ridiculous. It's kind of spooky. But do you think about that a lot?
I think about it in the sense of like, I'm like, oh man, like I have a lot more goals that I never knew I had. And I'm like, and I want to achieve them before I ultimately bite the big one.
What are the goals?
Well, this year I wanted to build a school in South America. And
that's awesome.
You know, you never know when things are going to end. So I'm like, just if I like it and I want to do it, then, you know, everyone is starting to pass away. I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it now. That's what I'm doing. That's why I am doing that.
Amazing. Are you sober?
I am sober now.
Oh, wow.
I just passed 6 months actually.
Nice. That's the hardest part.
I quit at like 22 hard drugs.
Yeah.
And then my friend was trying to get ecstasy at Tomorrowland, and I was like asking around for him. And some guy thought it was me asking, so he just took his thumb and put it in his bag and then put it in my mouth. And I was like, bro. I was like,
Some random guy just put his thumb in your mouth. And then you were involuntarily ecstasied.
yes.
Okay. So with that one exception, you've quit using drugs.
Yeah. I also quit caffeine as well. So I'm like completely clean. And then like I tried quitting porn this year and I went 50 days. That's the toughest one for me right now, I'd say. Am I supposed to talk about this on camera? I have no idea.
Supposed to? No, it's great.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like you're doing pretty good. The next time we gotta find someone who's truly a degenerate.
I surprised my friend in LA and he was like, he was talking about something. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. He's like, because you're never around. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
ow.
Did you ask him, like, how do you feel about it?
I didn't.
No.
Maybe that's what I should be asking.
But given the choice that you've made, there's probably accommodations you can make to like improve your relationship with your friends, right? That might look like being like, oh, okay, now that I know that you feel that way, like I'm gonna reach out to you more regularly.
I love you guys if you're watching this.
Like 3 takeaways that you will try to implement.
I think the one that I feel like would help me the most practically would be like trying to implement small low bar habits. So like maybe like meditation for 2 minutes a day. The barrier of entry to start is my hardest thing. Reaching out to my friends more and showing love and, you know, really try to like get to the bottom of like how people are feeling around me. Oh, I think, the biggest one I was thinking about was like what you said about hate comments. Genuinely feeling guilty about what I'm about to do. That is like so worrisome for me. And one thing I'll try to implement is just putting out, as long as I do what I'm about to do and I think that's the right thing. And if I fail along the way, I fail along the way. Just go about it and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's another thing that I've learned from this.
Amazing.
That's probably the biggest one.
All right, I love it. Boom.
Let's go.
So like I just changed this guy's life. It's like Touched by an Angel. You guys ever watch that show? Probably exposing how old I am.